Hi, I'm Maggie Holmes with Crate Paper, and I am here to show you some fun things you can do with the new paint from my Sunny Days collection. So these are some cute, this is a cute little pouch and a tote bag, and these are just basic canvas bags that I got from my local craft store, so you could find them. And so here's the paint, in case you're not familiar with the paint. So my new Sunny Days collection, we have 3 paints. These are acrylic paints, fun colors, as you can see. And so for this first one, super easy. I'm not going to show you, I'm not going to do it, but it's just super easy. I'll walk you through it. You can just take some masking tape or painter's tape, and I taped this off on a diagonal. And then I took the paint and just painted it on with a basic foam brush. Once it was dry, I wanted to add a cute little tassel to the zipper pull, and so I made this with just some yarn and some beads that I had laying around at home in my craft room. So we'll set that one aside. And I think these are super fun. My girls love them, but also fun to give as gifts. So I feel like everybody loves little pouches to put craft supplies or to put makeup in, or just whatever you want to throw in your purse and have it. So I love to make little things like this to have on hand to give to friends as gifts. So this next one is the tote bag, and I just added some polka dots. You can see here, if you wanted, you could do them in a more straight line and do a more grid pattern, but I wanted it to be kind of fresh and fun and just random. And so I didn't mark it out or anything. I just kind of went for it. And I want to show you how I did this. Really easy. You don't need a lot of supplies, so you'll need the paint. I used the blue. And as you can see on the canvas, it dried a little bit darker than it shows in the bottles, which was actually kind of fun. So if you're looking for a certain color to match something, you might want to do a swatch test and then let it dry. I feel like paint always dries a little bit darker anyway than when it's wet. So just a little side note. So to get these circles, of course, you could just take a paintbrush and kind of freehand, but they wouldn't be the same size, and it might get a little bit messy. So what I did is I decided to create my own little stencil. And so I just took the packaging that the paint came in, and as you can see, it's kind of this clear material, and it's plastic, and it's hard enough that it's got some substance to it, not as flimsy as paper. And then I took a circle punch, and all I did is, let me first just cut this apart. So this is a great way to recycle and use up some things like this. So all I did was I cut this out. So now I have the clear piece of acrylic, and then I just took my circle punch and whoo, that went flying. So, and then I just punched it through. So now you can see I have a circle, and so you have a stencil. You could do this with a heart punch or any other shape that you want to do. You could do heart polka dots, which would be really fun as well. And so I cut it down because I didn't want a lot of extra hanging off, because I wanted to be able to keep moving and do all my dots without waiting for them to dry. So now I have my stencil ready to go. And I'm going to just get a plate, or another thing you can use the packaging for is put your paint on it and use it for that. So get a good amount of paint on there. And then I am going to pull in a blank one. And as I'm pulling this in, it reminds me, so with fabric and also sometimes with paper, depending on how much paint you're using, it will bleed through. And so I just took the packaging from the specialty paper and put that. You can put that in. You can use a piece of cardstock. You can use basically anything that's going to block the paint from bleeding through to the other side. So just tuck that in there. Make sure that it's all the way down. And then need a little bit more at the top. So Again, just anything that's going to give you a little barrier so you don't ruin the other side of your bag. And then another thing you might want to do is I ironed mine to get the wrinkles out before I started. I didn't do that on the sample one, but if you want those wrinkles out, usually they come folded up, so you want to take that and iron it before you paint it, of course. And then now you have your stencil. And so what I did is I just kind of picked a starting point and started right here. I'll kind of follow my same pattern. Another idea, if you're a little bit scared on creating the random polka dots, is you can pick a piece of scrapbook paper. A lot of times for my past collections, we have polka dots that have a little bit of a randomness to them. And so you could take one of those papers and you could kind of copy or mimic the way we've done it. And so it's random, but you are following a pattern, and that will help you feel like you know it's going to turn out instead of being afraid of you not liking it in the end. So what you're going to do then is take the stencil that you made, start with your first one. You'll want to use a good stencil brush, hold it down with your fingers and get some paint on there. And then you'll just want to use an up and down motion with your brush. You could also take masking tape and you could tape the stencil down if you don't want to hold it or get your fingers dirty. That works as well. And it also kind of holds it down a little bit tighter, but I like a little bit of the not perfect look, and so I was okay with that. And then just move it to your next spot. Go up and down. And you can see it just starts creating your pattern. And then you'll keep going around. One thing I do like is to have some of them hang off the edges. So I'll do one of those down here. And I just feel like that makes the pattern look really nice. And you just kind of go like that. As you can see there, a little mess up. So one thing I was just going to talk about is you'll want to keep some wipes on hand and wipe your fingers off every so often. And another thing that I did is after every few polka dots, I washed off my stencil, took a wipe and cleaned it off, because you'll see you kind of start getting it messy, and then you'll prevent things like that from happening. So I'm going to do just that and grab a wipe, clean my hands off really quickly. And I'm not going to do all the polka dots because you get the idea. I would keep going. But one other final tip that I wanted to share is that here you can see on this one, it did bleed under a little bit. And again, if you are okay with the imperfect nature of it, with the canvas, it is totally fine. If you want to smooth it out, I found it was really easy to just take a paintbrush, and all I did was I kind of went and took the paintbrush, and on some of those where it got a little bit outside of the lines, you can just take your paintbrush, go around, make it a little bit bigger so it fills in, and you'll never know because you know, if it's a tiny bit bigger, you can't tell that it is bigger. So you can go around and do that on all of them if you want and just smooth them out. That's what I did. And so it just kind of makes the edges a little bit better in case it bleeds out. And so that's it. That's all you have to do. And then let it dry. And then you have your super cute little tote. You can do both sides. So there you have it, the finished tote. And I hope that you enjoyed this tutorial, and I hope that you love the new paint from the Sunny Days collection as much as I do, and that you have fun creating with it. Be sure to tag me and tag Crepe Paper when you make your beautiful things so that we can see and that we can all be inspired.